Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's hard level difficulty puzzle, and it's called Space Settlement by Nicholas Duhale. And here are the rules. We have normal Sudoku rules apply, which means in every cell in the grid, place a single digit such that every row, column, and designated 9-cell region contains the digits 1 through 9 exactly once each. There is a small cloud in the top left corner of the grid. It will probably disappear when you reach the end of your space journey. So that's Fog of War. I don't know what that will help us with, but maybe it will help us with something. We have the sum of the digits along an arrow is equal to the digit in the connected circle. So for example, if this were say 3 and 4 here, this would have to be 7 to add up to the digits, or 3, which is what 3 and 4 would add up to. So the digits on the arrow must add up to the digit in the connected circle. So that means these would also have to add up to 7, but you could have something like, say, 3 and 4 there also. And that would satisfy that. So that's how an example of how arrows work. And then along pink lines, digits form a consecutive sequence in any order. So these have to be some consecutive sequence here. So you could have something like, I don't know, 9, 4, 5, 7, 6, 3, and 8. And that would be valid because 3 through 9 form a consecutive sequence, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is a consecutive sequence. What you could not have, though, is something like, say, 4 here twice, because that doesn't form a consecutive sequence. You have 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which doesn't work. You also could not have something like, say, 1, 4, 5, 7, 6, 3, 8, because 1 is not consecutive with 3 through 8. And these are Renban lines. So those are examples of how Renban lines work. And those are all the rules. If you like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay. These circles are the sum of at least 3 unique digits, which is at minimum 1, 2, and 3. So these have to be 6 through 9 here. Here, we have a set of the digits 1 through 9 because it's a 9-length Renban. And you can't have repeats on the Renban, so this must be the 1 through 9 here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So these are also 9 unique digits on this Renban. So these have to have 1 through 9 each here. That's interesting. These digits have to be 1 through 6. So this is 6 through 9 here. This must be 1 through 6 here. This has to be 1 through 6 here. This is 1 through 6 here. What else do we have? Hmm. These have to be the digits 1 through 9. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in length. Hmm. So these 3 and these 2 digits here must be the same as these 3 and these 2 digits here. So these have to be 1 through 6 here. These 3 and these 2 digits here must be the same as these 3 and those 2 digits there. These 3 digits here. Okay, so let's start coloring. We have these 5, must be the same as these 5. These 5 here must be the same as these 5. So the red and orange here must match these, essentially. Hmm. So these 6 digits here have to match all of these digits here. And they also must match these 6 digits here. So obviously this digit's going to be the same. Hmm. Hmm. Where can these digits... Well, these digits have to appear here and here. If these digits are here, they cannot appear here, and then they have to both be there. If these digits are here, then they can't appear here, so they can't appear here, so they have to be one of these 2 digits here, or both of these digits here. So these digits are guaranteed to be in these 4 cells here. Obviously, they can't be anywhere else on this Renban line. They have to appear once each here. So then, if one of them's here, it cannot be here. It has to be part of this cell here. If the other one's here, then it can't be here, so it has to be one of those digits there. So these 2 digits are guaranteed to be in these 4 cells here. That's interesting. That's all we really have. Hmm. What about this area here? One of these is going to have a 9. So since one of these has a 9, the rest has to be 3 through 9 here. Um... Can you have 1 through 7 ever be on one of these lines? I think the answer to that is probably not. If you have... Okay. So, anytime you have 3 unique digits adding up to a singular digit, those digits have to have at least 2 digits being from 1, 2, and 3. So, if you have that being the case, then these digits cannot contain 2 digits from 1 through 3, so it can only have at most 1 digit from 1 through 3 here. And these digits cannot contain the digits 1 through 3 here, where they can only contain at most 1 digit from 1 through 3 there. So that means you cannot ever have these be 1 through 7, because that would require 3 digits on the Renban line to be from 1 through 3, obviously, but we can only have at most 2 in these boxes with the multiple digits, 3 digits adding up to a singular digit. So these have to be, so we're guaranteed 2 through 8 here. Sorry, 3 through 8 in these Renban lines, and then you could be with a 2 or 9. Um, hmm. So where are these digits then? These 3, this digit cannot be these digits here. So it can't be this, can't be these, can't be here. So this digit has to be one of these 2 digits here. Can't be here, can't be here. So then it becomes one of these 3 digits there. So this digit has to be one of these digits here. It's the same thing with this digit. This digit cannot be any of these digits, can't be this digit, so it has to be green here, which means it's one of these greens here. Interesting. Does that tell us anything else? I don't know. Oh. Hmm. This digit can't be any of these digits here. Hmm. But what does that tell us? I don't really know. Hmm. So again, these have to be 2 through 9 here. This has to be 2 through 6 here, 2 through 6 there. Hmm. Hmm. So we are guaranteed one has to be one of these three. But that doesn't really tell us too much. Um. Hmm. This digit cannot be any of these digits here. So that means that on this line, it has to be one of these three digits. So this digit must be the same as one of these three. That doesn't tell us too much either. Um, where are these two digits? They obviously can't be any of these digits here. They could both be here. That is certainly possible. Hmm. At least one of them. Actually, so if it's 8 and 9, we know these are 7, 8, and 9. So two of them, if it's 8 and 9, they both have to be there, right? Same with this. If this is or 7, 8 or not, if any two out of these four, sorry, three out of these four have to be 7, 8, and 9. So we're guaranteed two of them have to be 7, 8. Two of them have to be out of these pair are guaranteed to not be from 1 through 6. So they are guaranteed to be those two digits if that's the case, right? But it's the same with this. They could both be the same as these then, which would be fine. Um, hmm. 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 Um, um, hmm. So one of these is guaranteed to have 3 in one set, and then 4 through 9. Ah, that's interesting. So this is guaranteed to have 3 in one set and 8 here. So out of these 3 digits, only one of them can have a 3. Only one of them can have a 4. Huh. That's interesting. Hmm. Huh. Um. Hmm. What does that mean? Mm, if we have 6 here, that's 1, 2, 3. That means 3 cannot be in this Renban. So we need 3 to be here on this Renban, which means 3 cannot be here on this Renban, so 3 has to be one of these on the Renban. So then this would have to be 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, or 1, 2, 6. Same with this. This is 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 6. So interesting. Um, only one of these sets can have a 3 in them. Does that tell us anything? Not particularly. Hmm. So if we have a 6 here, then that guarantees these Ren bands are 3 through 9. Both of them. Um, hmm. We know these digits are 3 through 9 here. But that doesn't really tell us much. What happens if this is 2 through 8? That means one of these must be missing a 2. And then the other one must be missing a 3. In that case, hmm. If this is 1, 2, 3, that means the green digit has to be 2 or 3. And if this is 1, 2, or 3, that means 3 can't be here. 3 has to be on this Ren band here, which means this is 3. So 3 could not be here on this Ren band. 3 is guaranteed to be here. So this would be 3. That would be 3 there. 1, 2, 1, 2. You'd have 1, 2, and something else here. So this couldn't be 2 or 3. It would have to be 4, 5, or 6. So how would that work? 6, this would have to be 3. We'd have to have... This is 3 with 1 or 2. This is 1, 2 here. This cannot be 3 here. No 6 here, no 6 here. This can't be 2 or 3. It'd be 4, 5, and 6. So no 3 here, no 3 here, no 3 here, no 3 here. We definitely have a 3 here. So this could not have a 2 as any part of it. So this would have to be 3 through 9 here. No 3 here. 3 would have to be one of these 3. And you'd have 4, 5, and 6. So 1 and 2, 1 and 2. One of these would be 1 or 2. This would obviously not be 2 or 3. No 2 or 3 here. We'd have 4 through 9 here, 4 through 9 here. These two would have to be exactly the same as those two. That seems fine. Interesting. If this is on the line, if this is on the Renban, it cannot be any of these digits. It has to be that digit. Same with that one. So if these are if this is 4, 5, or 6, it has to be one of these two digits here. It has to be both of these digits here, which means it cannot be here, it cannot be here. Hmm. I mean, that seems fine. This digit, if it's on the Renban, cannot be any of these four, so it would have to be that digit there. It seems fine. Hmm. One of these digits definitely has to be on the Renban here and the Renban here. Whether it's 3 or it's 4, 5, or 6, or even 2. Can you have 2? If this were the digit that's on the Renban, it would have to be part of that. Hmm. Unfortunately, this doesn't really help us too much. Interesting. Okay. 7 and 8 are guaranteed to be on these Renbans. That accounts for 2 of them. So we are guaranteed 1, 7, or 8 has to be on these lines here. And another 7 or 8 is guaranteed to be on these lines here. So one of them has to be here or here. The other way that they're on Renbans is if they are here and here. But if they're not on the other Renban, they have to be here. Um, huh. So what does that mean? What? So these two digits. Well, obviously, if you have these two digits being 7 through 9, then they have to be here. Then they have to be those 3 there. But we know one of them doesn't have to be 7 through 9. One of them actually cannot be 7 through 9, but the question is, where else can it be? Um, It could be in this set here. Hmm. Mm. 3 through 9. If one of them is 2 through 8, then maybe I should take a look at that. That means 9 cannot be here, 9 cannot be here. 9 has to be one of these two. 9 cannot be any of these, cannot be any of these, can't be here, so 9 would have to be there. Which would force that to be 9. Which would obviously force one of these two to be a 9. So then we have 9 be one of those two also. Hmm. So this could not be both 7 and 8 here. If these were both 7 and 8, they cannot appear here. They cannot appear any of these. They would have to be part of this, but the 9 forces that to be there. So 1 out of the 7, 8 is here, and the other 7 or 8 is here, right? So this would be 7, 8, and 9. One of these 4 would be a 7 or 8. The other 7 or 8 would be here. So that would be 7, 8, and 9. And this 7 or 8 would have to be either here or one of these 3. Huh. Hmm. Okay. Huh. Not sure what this tells us. Yeah, right now I'm just trying to figure out what this break-in is. We know total, these digits must sum to what? 136. 35, which is 45 times 3. 2 times 3 through 9 is 42 times 2, so that's 84. Let's get a calculator so we don't mess this up. 80, so 3 through 9 is 45 minus 1 and 2, so that's 42 times 2 is 84. We have at most 24 here, and we have 4 digits, which can be, one of them has to be 8 and 9, and the other one has to be 7 and 9 at most. So that's already degrees of freedom there. So what happens if we have 2 through 8? Is that possible? So 45 minus 2 through 8 would be minus 1 and 9, so minus 10. 35 plus 42. Plus 24. Plus 17 plus 16 is 134. So that is not possible to have 2 through 8 in the Renban. Because if you had 2 through 8 in the Renban, they don't add up to enough. So these have to be 3 through 9 then. That's interesting. Okay, does that tell us anything? I'm not really sure. But it does tell us these can't be 2. These can't be 2. So this has to be 1, 2, and another digit to add up to this digit. Can you actually have a 2 here? Probably not, right? So 42 times 2 plus 24. Can we have 21? Possibly. 42 times 2 plus 21 plus 17 plus 16 is 138. So yeah, we have those degrees of freedom. Can we ever have a 1 here or 1 here? I don't think so. So 42 times 2, 84, plus 10, plus 17, plus 24. Oh, you could have a 1 there. Huh. Interesting. Hmm. What you cannot have, though... Okay, so... Can 9 ever be either of these cells? I think the answer to that is no. If we have 9 be here, obviously 9 would be there. This would then be 15. So we'd have 42 times 2 again, plus 24, plus 17 on one side, and then 15 on the other side. Oh, it could work. Huh. Never mind then. Hmm. Hmm. So these two digits, well, we don't know. All of these digits are in the same Renban. These three digits could be the same as these three digits there. Again, if this is 4, 5, and if this is 3, 4, 5, and 6, it has to be the same as both of these digits here because this one otherwise sees all of these cells and all of these cells. Also, that would force this to be a 1-2 pair. That's interesting. So this would have to be 3 and 4 at least, which adds up to 7, 8, or 9. And then this would have to be... Oh, that's a contradiction. So if this is 3 through 6, the problem with that is the rest of the row cannot be 3, cannot be 1 or 2, so this would have to be a 1-2 pair here. This 3 through 6 would eliminate, cannot be on these Renbans here, but they have to be on the Renban, so then they would have to be these digits here. So this would match both of these cells as 3 through 6, but this cell cannot be on the Renban here. It would be the sum of not 1 and 2, at minimum 3 and 4. So this minimum 3 and 4 adds up to at minimum 7. So this 7, 8, and 9 has to be on the Renban here, but it can't be here as a blue, and it can't be the green, so that's going to be a contradiction. So therefore, because of that, we know this cannot be 3 through 6. This has to be 1 or 2 here. That's interesting. We can't have 2 on this also. Whoops. Yeah, okay, so then remove 2 from there. This cannot be 3 through 6. It's 1 or 2 here. That's interesting. And now this digit here, if it's 7 through 9, cannot be any of these digits. It would have to be that digit, which would mean that it has to be that digit there. So that does satisfy that. If it's 3 through 6, it could be any of these. It could be either of these two, right? That was interesting. Huh. So one of these digits here is 1 or 2. One of these 3 digits is 1 or 2. But that doesn't tell us too much from that. So okay, these 2 digits specifically have to be these 3 digits here. So this digit here, let's remove the reds and oranges and these blues. So make this yellow, we'll make that orange. This digit cannot be any of these digits here, cannot match this. It has to be one of these three. That means it goes to one of those. And the other one is a 1 or 2 here. That's interesting. Same with this. Yellow cannot be any of these. It cannot be here. So yellow has to be one of these two. Can't be here. Can't be any of these. So yellow has to be one of these three. And then we have a 1, 2 here, which matches one of these. Interesting. Hmm. Okay. What else do we have? Yeah, and the reason why this can't be 8 and 9 and 8 and 9 is that would eliminate 8 and 9 from both of these. That would mean these cannot be 8 and 9. Actually, shoot. Is that the case? I'm trying to think again about the logic behind that. Yes, because if you have 8 and 9 here and 8 and 9 here, 8 cannot be on any of these Ren bands here, cannot be on any of these Ren bands here. So 8 would have to be on this Ren band here and here, but we know we have to have an 8 on both of these Ren bands, and only one of them can have an 8. So that's the reasoning why it can't be 2 through 8 here. So then they're both 3 through 9. Right. So that's that. Um, Now the thing is, 3 out of these 4 have to be 7, 8, and 9, right? And one of them can't be duplicated. So we could have 9 here and 9 here. We have 6 degrees of freedom, though, so the 7 could go down to a 1 somewhere. So that doesn't help with anything there. Um, hmm. Hmm. So the problem right now I have is I'm not quite sure where to go next. Um, this logic was very interesting, as was the logic that forced these Ren bands to be 3 through 9. But then where else do we go from here? I'm gonna pause because I need to go to the bathroom, and I'll be right back. And I'm back. Okay, let's continue. Um, hmm. Logic. Logic. Mm. Hmm. Can this actually be 3? These arrows, if these arrows sum up to at least 10, these arrows sum up to at least 16. So you could have 16 here. If you have 3 here, this is 9 at most. 3 doubled is 6, plus 9 is only 15. So you cannot have a 3 here. Then this has to be at least 4. And that, okay, also the reasoning was, okay, so this can't be 4 either. If this is 4, it would have to be 1, 3, and 1, 3 as pairs. That would mean 1 and 3 cannot be in any of these digits here. And as I said before, anytime you have 3 unique digits adding up to one single digit, you have to have at least 2 digits from 1, 2, and 3. But 1 and 3 are eliminated from both of these possibilities if this is 4. So this cannot be 4 here. That doesn't really help very much, though. We don't, like... Huh. Oh, so if this is 1 or 2, that would mean yellow would have to be here and here. Orange would have to be here and here. Okay. What if... Yellow could be here, though, with this being yellow, so that's not a problem. Interestingly enough, this 1, 2 here has to be the same as that 1, 2 there. That doesn't really tell us very much. This could, if this is 5, this could be different 1 4s and 2 3s, so that's not too helpful. Okay. Yeah, the 2 through 8 was really restricting, so that was interesting about how that worked. But I'm not sure where else I can get the restrictions from. So I took a look at these arrows, that didn't work. Hmm. Um. We know this digit cannot be any of these digits here. So it has to be one of these three there. So then it's one of those three there. Same with this digit. This digit sees all four of these, so it must be one of these three, and then has to be one of those three there. Hmm. Now that's interesting. If this is 1 or 2, where is 1 or 2? If this is 1 or 2, where is 1 or 2 in row? Where is that 1 or 2 in row 7? This 1 or 2 means this can't be that 1 or 2, so this 1 or 2 has to this 1 or 2 would have to be here, which means it would be one of these two digits there. That's not that helpful. Hmm. 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 Oh, that's interesting. Say this was 2, 3, 4. That would mean 3 and 4 cannot be on the Renban in this box. It would have to be here. So this is 2, 3, 4 adding up to 9. This is just trying in one of them. Then this would be 1, 9 here. There would be no 3 or 4 here, no 3 or 4 here. We'd have to have 3 or 4 here, which means this could not be 3 or 4. This would obviously be 3 or 4. We don't necessarily have to have a 9 there, but it's very likely that it has to be a 9. This is 1, 7, 8, or 9. Obviously, 9 can't be there. 9 can't be there. So this has to be 3 or 4 with 7 or 8 here. These can't be 3 or 4, which means 3 or 4 has to be here. So this cannot be 3 or 4 here. These can't be 9. So this must be 8 here, which makes this 1, 2, and 5. So there's no 5 here. So this must be 5 here, which means this can't be 6, it's 5. So no 5 here. You cannot have 1, 2, and 6, and we have a contradiction. There we go. Well, that's one thing that helps. And I think it's the same for all the 9s, right? Well, all the 9s with 2, 3, and 4 adding up, I should say. So if we have 9 here with this being, well, this can't be 2, 3, and 4. So if we have 9 here with this being 2, 3, 4, we have the same problem, right? 3 and 4 cannot be here. 3 and 4 would have to be here, which means this could not contain 3 and 4, so 3 and 4 would have to be here. Therefore, this would be 5 or 6. This would be 1, 2, 5 or 1, 2, 6 here. Same with this. This would be 1, 2, 5 and 1, 2, 6, and one of them would have to be 9, which would be a contradiction. So this cannot be 2, 3, 4 here. This is guaranteed to have a 1. Can we have 1, 3, 5? I think it might be something similar in that instance. So if we have 9 with 1, 3, or 5 here, that means this would have to be essentially 2 with 7, 8, or 9 here. No 3, 5 here, no 3, 5 here. That means this is guaranteed to be 3, 5 there with a 7, 8, and 9 there. This cannot have 3 and 5 here. These can't be 9. So there's no 1, 2, 6 here. It's 1, 2, 4, which means this can't be 4. That's 6, which means the 6 would have to be here. And then it would be 1, 2, 6 adding up to 9, which is a contradiction. So you can, yeah, 1, 3, 5 also does not work. Interesting. So then we are guaranteed, we need 1 here, and we need 2 on the arrows. So you're guaranteed 1 and 2 on all 3 arrows. Interesting. Which means this cannot, the 3, 4, 5, 6 here means this can't be the 3, 4, 5, 6. It's guaranteed to be 1 or 2. Same with this. This is guaranteed to be 1 or 2. Interesting. So that's how these are all different. Then these are all 1 and 2 with a fourth digit. Sorry, with a third digit. And it would be 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so one of these would be 3, 4, 5, or 6. One of these would be 3, 4, 5, or 6. That means this green 3, 4, 5, or 6 also has to be here because it sees all of these digits also, and then it must be here. Same with this medium gray one. It sees all of these cells here, so it has to be here and then here. That's interesting. If this were the 1 or 2, that means the 1 or 2 then in this box would have to be here and here. If this were the 1 or 2, that means this 1 or 2 would have to be not these two, but would have to be here and here. So no matter what, these 1 or 2 are the same digit. And they cannot be here, they cannot be here, they can't be 6, 7, 8, and 9. So they have to be the same digit as this. So we're going to mark these as all the pink cells. So pink cannot be anywhere here. So these are all the same. That can't be pink. So pink has to be one of these two. We're not sure which. Obviously, if it's this one, it can't be here. It would have to be there specifically. That's kind of cool. Um, hmm. Pink cannot be any of these. It has to be one of these five. Okay. And then these two obviously cannot be here, but they could be this one or that one. Hmm. Not too helpful there. Um, hmm. Pink cannot be here. Cannot be here, cannot be here. So pink has to be one of these two. Aha! Since pink is one of these two, this can't be 3 anymore. That doesn't really help us any, but whatever. Oh, this can't be 3 also, because one of these is guaranteed to be a 1 or 2 here. So this can't be 3 either, but it still could be 1, 3, adding up to 4, technically. If pink were here, pink could not be anywhere here anymore. Pink can't be here, so pink would be one of these two. Interesting. So that would be the non-pink. Okay. If this is pink, however, then none of these 6 would be pink because we have a pink guaranteed here. And then one of these 3 is a pink. So pink has to be one of these 5 guaranteed, right? If pink is here, pink can't be here or here in these ren bands. So then pink would have to be one of these 2. If pink is here, pink can't be here and here. So pink has to be one of these 3 on the ren band. Okay. Not too helpful there. Pink can't be here. Oh. Specifically, if this is pink, we cannot have pink be any of these. Pink can't be, but pink could be here. We don't have a guarantee that that's the pink, right? Hmm. Pink can't be here and pink can't be here. So pink in box 7 has to be one of these 3 if this is pink. No, it's just in general, right? Hmm. Um, hmm. Obviously, these two cannot be the 1 and 2s. Um, these are different digits, so that doesn't help us much there. Hmm. Oh. Dark cannot be any of these digits here and can't be here. So dark has to be this digit here. One of these two, I should say. Same with red. Red can't be any of these digits. It can't be here, so red has to be one of these two. So we have dark here, red here. Not too helpful. Hmm. That's interesting. Uh, hmm. Uh, what else do we have anything else? Not really. Yeah. Hmm. Pink in column 6 has to be one of those three. Can it be here? If this is pink, that means this can't be pink here. You'd have a pink here. Yeah, then it would be one of those pinks there, so that's fine. Um, hmm. 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 Fortunately, I'm still not seeing the restrictions. We know whatever this digit is cannot be here or here. So it would have to be this one and then one of these three. Does one of these have to be a 1 or 2? Maybe. Maybe not. If this is 1 or 2, and it's not the pink, then this has to be the pink 1 or 2. So then the 1 or 2 would have to be here. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. So if we have 1 or 2 here, this is not pink. Pink can't be here. Pink would have to be here, which means that couldn't be pink, that couldn't be pink. Pink would then have to be one of those two. This would be dark and yellow. Or this cell, whatever that is. Let's remove these colors here. let's change these. So this will make orange, and this is yellow. Orange cannot be any of these digits here. This gray has to be there, so this has to be orange. This is orange dark as a pear, so orange has to be one of those three. Okay. Yellow has the same thing. Yellow, this green has to be part of this 1, 3, 6. So we have yellow here, and then this has to be yellow there. So there's that. Hmm. We don't know about this. Hmm. Eesh. So this part, the hardness of this is the break-in. Still trying to figure out the logic here. Obviously, if this is the pink, then this has to be pink, and then pink would have to be one of these. So that's why we were trying this situation when it's not 1, 2. Then this would have to be 1 or 2. It would not be the pink. So then where would the pink be? Pink would have to be here, then here, so it would not be here. Could not be here because that would be on the red bank, can't be here, so then pink would guarantee have to be here. That eliminates pink here and pink here. So one of these two would be pink. Hmm. But this is fine. That's the issue. Whatever this 3, 4, 5, 6 would be, it can't be any of these. So it would have to be here. Which would then force it to be there. And so these three would be the same as these three, which would be the same as those three there. This 1 or 2 would have to be there. This would be the same as the yellow here. So then it would be there. And with a 1 or 2. Hmm. Okay. That seems fine. What about if we go the other route? If this is 1 or 2, then this has to be the pink one, which means this can't be pink. So then the pink would have to go here. These could no longer be pink. This would not be 1 or 2, it would be 3 through 6. So pink would necessarily have to be there, which means that wouldn't be pink. Pink could not be there. Pink would have to be one of these two. Hmm. That seems fine. This 1 or 2 then would be one of these two. It'd be one of these two, so it'd have to be one of those three. Then one of those three there. Obviously be one of these 5. But that's not that restrictive, right? Oof. Oof. This could not be any of these, so it'd have to be orange here. Orange, orange, and this would not be green, so these would be orange and green here. Seems fine. This digit could be the same as that. We just don't know. Yeah. That's not leading anywhere, unfortunately. So both of them seem equally fine. Yeah, that's why I was like, ugh, I don't know where this is going to lead to. Hmm. Hmm. um. Okay. If this were 1 or 2, that would force us to be 3 through 6. This would not be pink. So pink would have to be here, then there, then there. This digit. So orange could no longer be any of these, and it could not be here, it could not be any of these, so it would have to be this. So this would be orange. This would be yellow in that case. And this would be some other color. So make it light. Light would have to go there, would have to go there. Then would have to be part of this, and then this. Orange would be here, here, and this could no longer be pink. So whatever digit is here, I guess would be blue. Would have to be blue and orange there. This would be blue and yellow there. Okay. That means this could not be yellow or orange. But that doesn't tell us too much. Obviously, if any of these are pink here, this would have to be 8 or 9. But if that's pink, this could still be 6 or 7. You'd have pink here, so this would have to be pink here. Because neither of these could be pink, so no pink there. No pink there. Blue could not be here, obviously. Oh, we know these are 4 distinct different digits. Huh. So, what does that mean then? I preferred it this way. So we know these are 4 distinct different digits. Okay, let's calculate that with that. So then it's 30 at most, right? 30 plus 42 times 2 plus 24 is 138. But that's fine. So that means the 6 could get down to a 3. So that's not very helpful. Oh, wait. Hold up. If this is 3 here, that means 3 and 9 would have to be here. If this is 3, this is 3. So none of these can be 6. Well, it could be 7, 8, and 9. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, so that does work. Dang it. Can these be 6 then? That's interesting. I guess they add up, right? So 6, yeah. That is interesting. So plus these digits is necessarily going to be equal. So whatever digit is the leftover one here, the remaining digits must be what these add up to. And since these add up to there and there, I think it necessarily forces it to add up to 135 no matter what. So unfortunately that doesn't restrict things too much. So assuming like this is 3, that means this would have to be some combination of 4, 5, and 6, which would mean this adds up to 7, 8, and 9 because we have a green here going there. These add up to this digit here, and this must be part of this. And this is 4, 5, and 6 as distinct digits, that's 1, 2 with 4, 1, 2 with 5, 1, 2 with 6, which adds up to 7, 8, and 9. So that necessarily adds up to 135 there. Huh. That's interesting. Right, because it would be 3 plus 9 plus 7 plus 8 is 27. It would be 24 on that end plus 42 times 2, which is 135. But say we had a 6 missing here. This would then be 3, 4, and 5 adding up to these sums. So that would be 6, 7, and 8. So that's 21 plus 42 times 2 plus 30, which is 6 and 9, 7, and 8, which would add up to 135. Huh. That's interesting. Huh. Now that's kind of interesting. We know these cannot have 1 and 2 in it. Two, oh, that's interesting. Two out of these 3 cells here have to be 1 or 2. It's the same with these. But these could be 2 out of these 4. So that's not as restrictive. Obviously, if you have 1, 2, 1, 2 as a pair here, this would have to be 7, 8, or 9. Hmm. We don't really have very many restrictions here, though, unfortunately. Um, hmm. Ooh, we do know these two digits can't be here. The problem is they could actually be there. They could also be there, so there's not a restriction that they have to be there. Uh, yeah, this part is the break-in is the hardest part here. I think once you figure out the break-in, everything flows from it, but the problem is trying to figure out the break-in. Hmm. 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 um. Dang it. This kind of sucks. If this were 1 or 2, that would mean so we'll make it blue. This couldn't be 1 or 2. This would have to be a blue here. Which means this couldn't be blue. So blue would have to be one of these two. Pink would be not this one. Blue would be one of these two, obviously. So blue could not be here. Blue would be one of these two. That doesn't help much, though. Blue would have to be one of these three also. But it cannot be blue here or blue here. So this cannot be a pink-blue pair if that's the case, because that would add up to 3. So then this would guarantee this is 1 or 2 there. We don't know which one. Hmm. Not helpful. Hmm. Hmm. We have a similar situation here. We can't have both 1 and 2's be here. So one of these is guaranteed to be a 1 or 2. So we can't have both 1 and 2's be here. Therefore, 1 or 2, one of these two has to be a 1 or 2. If it's here, that means there's no guarantee there. So if it's here, that would be blue. That would be the other 1 or 2, not pink. I mean, you could have both of them potentially be there. That's interesting. So you can't have both 1 and 2's be there. One of them has to be here. But obviously if pink is there, and I think we have to have one of these have to be 1 or 2 also. Yes. So 1 out of these two is 1 or 2. 1 out of these two is 1 or 2. But they could both be here, right? It could be a pink-blue combination, right? Oh, that's interesting. So 1 out of these two is 1 or 2. 1 out of these two is 1 or 2. Obviously, you cannot have 3 pinks here because the problem is these can't be pink. So if we had a 1 or 2 here and 1 or 2 here both as pink, they would duplicate on the Renban. So then one of these has to be blue, at least. So if this is blue, these can't be blue. If this is blue, this can't be blue. If this is blue, these can't be blue. If this is blue, these can't be blue. So these can never be the other 1 or 2. So these have to be 3 through 9 here. Interesting. Does that help? I don't really know, but it still does something. Because we are guaranteed 1 out of these two at least is 1 or 2. 1 out of these two is at least 1 or 2. So if this is pink, we guaranteed that this can't be pink, so pink has to be one of those two, which means blue cannot be here. Blue has to be then one of these two, which means either way, if this is 1 or 2, that can't be the blue 1 or 2. If this is blue 1 or 2, this can't be blue 1 or 2. So can this be a non-1 or 2 here? If this is non-1 or 2, that means both of these are 1 or 2. Therefore, we know we have to have a blue there. We have to have a pink here. So this can't be pink. This can't be blue 1 or 2. So therefore, the pink would have to be here, and then blue would be there. That seems fine-ish. So then blue would be here. Pink would be here, blue would be here, blue would be here, pink would be here. So pink is one of these two. Hmm. That's interesting. So that's kind of helpful there. That was very interesting, actually, that logic. But unfortunately, I don't see it expanding further. That's the issue. Um, hmm. Oh. What happens if pink is one of these? Then the other one or two has to be on this line. And we have to have three here. Does the three help us anywhere? Not really. What about, okay, so what about forcing the blue one or two to be here? Um, what happens if that's pink? Maybe that might be helpful. If this is pink, that means none of these can be pink. These can't be pink. We can't have pink here, here, or here. So pink has to be there. Which means that can't be pink there. This is guaranteed to be pink there. So pink has to be one of these two. We don't know which. Pink can't be here. Pink is one of those two. That's fine. Blue, so... One thing, okay, so one thing is we're trying to make this 6 or 7. So then we have pink here. This is blue. So blue cannot be here or here. Blue can't be any of these three. We don't know about these, though. Blue has to be one of these two. If this is blue, that would mean blue can't be here, so blue would have to be somewhere here. So then blue would have to be one of these two. That doesn't seem to restrict things. If this is medium, that means this can't be medium. So, well, any of these five could technically be a medium, which is kind of a problem. Well, not this one. It'd have to be one of these four. Hmm. If this were the other one or two, could that actually be the case? So then this would be blue here. This would have to be blue there. So blue cannot be here or here, but we already knew that. So blue would be one of these two. So that's not that helpful. Blue cannot be here, cannot be here. So blue, this would be a pink-blue pair here. And one out of these would be pink, and this, so this would be pink and blue as a pair. This would be pink and blue as a pair, which means pink could not be there. Huh. So one of these would be blue. This would be medium. This would be green. That's not that helpful, unfortunately. Well, this would be 3, 4 at minimum. So this would be 7, 8, 9 if that's the case. Hmm. Blue could no longer be any of these. So if this were blue, we don't have blue here. We don't have blue in any of these. Well, we know blue can't be here or here. Then blue would have to be there. So it would then have to be one of those two if that were the case. It would be one of those two if that were the case. And so could not be here or here, which is fine. That seems fine, unfortunately. So blue has to be here, here, or here. That seemed to work okay. What happens if we have blue here? If this is blue, again, this becomes a blue pair here. This would have to be blue. This would be gray. So pink could be any of these. Shoot. So this is interesting. Well, we know blue cannot be these. Blue has to be one of these two. And blue has to be one of these two. So blue is necessarily one of these two. Blue also can be one of these three. That's not that helpful again. Obviously, blue could be any of these digits here. Blue could be any of these two digits here, potentially. Hmm. 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 Ah. Hmm. What happens if this is pink? If this is pink, this can't be pink. This can't be pink. So then pink has to be there. Pink has to be here. So therefore blue cannot be there because you can't these can't add up to 3. Blue would have to be one of these 3. Blue would then be one of these 2. Blue would be one of those 2. That works fine. So then this could no longer be blue, but that doesn't really... Oh, it still could actually be blue, technically. We could have blue there. That would eliminate blue... Well, okay, we could have blue there. We could technically have blue... No. We can't have blue there. If we had blue there, that would force both of these to be blue. Because there's no other place for it in the columns and row they're in. So yeah, this couldn't be blue. So necessarily we'd have blue there, which means blue cannot be anywhere on these lines. So if blue's here, you'd have to have blue there. We couldn't have blue here, we couldn't have blue here, so in this box blue would have to be here. So that's interesting. That would force this to be blue, which means this couldn't be blue. So blue would have to be here. That means this couldn't be blue here, so this would be blue there. So again, obviously that wouldn't be blue, so this would be blue there. So that seems fine. Blue then could not be here, would be one of these 2. So we'd have blue here, blue is one of those 2. Can't be here, can't be here. It would be one of these 4. So not 1 or 2. It would have to be, then, so in that case, we'd have 3 and 4 or 3 and 5 here. And this would be 8 or 9. That seems fine. It seems perfectly fine. No contradictions. I mean, that's sort of what you sort of have to hope for, right? No pink there. Pink would still be one of those 2. Sort of at the end of where I can get from this, so I think I might take a break here. And then we'll try this again tomorrow. It's already 2 hours. I'm not really getting any closer, I feel. I did get a decent amount of logic here involved, but the problem is I'm still not sure where the next step is to sort of break, to get the break-in correct. It's kind of just, I don't know. We're not running into any contradictions here. Anyways, hopefully I'll see you next time then when we finish solving this puzzle. And I'll see you next time. Take care.